Hi and welcome back to the Tiki Detectives. This month, for February, we went a little bit further afield and going on a family holiday to Thailand, we thought it was a great opportunity to take in the TRADER VICS at the Anantara Riverside Resort in Bangkok. As always, we were assessing against our 10 criteria: decor, music, bathrooms, drink, cost, service, sustainability, food, vibe, mugs and merch. So let's take a look around. Going on a Sunday, we were able to go to the Tiki bottomless brunch, which was open for 3 hours. So we booked the table for the full 3 hours. There wasn't a limit within that time. And knowing all the wonderful food and drink that was going to be in store, we wanted to pace ourselves just a little bit. So we were shown to our tables after being given our real flower lei and our complimentary mini Mai Tai. 4 of our group had the alcoholic drinks package, which included beer, a selection of Mai Tais and wine. I have to say, although there were 5 different versions of the Mai Tai available on the menu, we were a little bit disappointed with the lack of variety, and therefore we gave drinks 6 out of 10. There was plenty more available on the menu, but they just weren't available in the bottomless brunch, unfortunately. That being said, TRADER VICS is the home of the Mai Tai, and they were really, really well made. And yes, we did try them all, at least once. So as not to be left out, my son got made non-alcoholic versions of some of the cocktails of the main menu at no extra cost. TRADER VICS puts on this bottomless brunch every Sunday at the Bangkok resort, and they also do a couple of other events across the week, including a Brazilian themed Friday night. So we felt that 8 out of 10 for sustainability was appropriate. The decor at TRADER VICS in Bangkok was a mix of the traditional TRADER VICS style Marcusson posts on the way in, plus lots of PNG decor about the place, plus the really interesting glass feature in the centre of the room that had its own little scene set up. It wasn't probably quite as heavily decorated as some of the other TRADER VICS and certainly some of the other tiki bars we went to previously, but bearing in mind its riverside location and the fact that it was in a tropical resort, we thought the decor was a 6 out of 10. It was a little bit on the minimalist side. I'm not going to say I'm a maximalist. There's not a spare inch left on the walls in my home tiki bar, and that's how I like it. Moving outside now, and the main feature of this review is going to be the food. There was so much food and so much choice, and interestingly, so much more choice of things to eat than there were to drink at this particular event. So the food varied from Pan-Asian. There was a roast dinner station, although not really for us because we were coming away for something a little bit different. There was world food, roast pork, a seafood station, teppanyaki, and even a pasta station where you could pick your pasta type, sauce and meat that went with it. I didn't have any, but my son did and he loved it. So I'm gonna be quiet for a little while so you can take in some of the varieties of food that were available, and my goodness, after 3 hours you can imagine we were all completely stuffed. Here was my favourite station, a mixture of sushi and fresh seafood, including oysters and some really, really large prawns. It was absolutely delicious, and I went back 2 or 3 times just to this one particular station, by which point I was too full up really to enjoy some of the other stuff outside. But that's got to be the best thing about going for a buffet lunch, is that you can pick exactly what you want without having to compromise. There were 5 of us on this occasion, so what I did was I added the review scores together for everybody to find the average. So it was myself, Brendan, my partner, my son, my mum and my sister, who'd all gone on this family holiday to Thailand, and everybody's views were taken into account. I think the biggest challenge for my son was to work out how he was going to combine his traditional English roots, particularly on a Sunday, with the fact that we were in the Far East and that he has an absolute love for sushi. So this was how he started his buffet: a Yorkshire pudding and a bit of sushi. Why not? Even looking back at this plate of food now is making me salivate. The seafood was so fresh and so delicious. And by this point we were on our second Mai Tai as well, working our way down the menu. Here was a little bit of pasta from the pasta station, and then we all basically just went off at that point and got what we wanted as we went. There was no rules. My son also had a little bit of teppanyaki, my partner had a steak, and I had the lobster thermidor from the a la carte menu. There was live music being played intermittently across the whole 3 hours, and I have to say they were excellent and they really added to the vibe. So we gave the music 8, we gave the vibe 9. It was really good. There were also a couple of hula dancers, Tahitian Hawaiian style dancers. I haven't recorded them. I didn't feel like they were possibly quite as authentic as they could be. The costumes looked a tiny little bit like fancy dress, so I haven't recorded them. They weren't something that we'd particularly gone for, but it was nice to have that level of entertainment going on in the background. It was Chinese New Year whilst we were in Thailand, and they celebrate it there as much as they do in China. So you could see in some of the desserts, for example, the influence of the Chinese New Year and it being the year of the dragon. There was a lot of red and gold around as well, which really added, I suppose, to the decor. Here's a quick trip around one of the dessert stations. You could have your own ice cream made from scratch. So this here was matcha ice cream that I had with a little bit of coconut ice cream. We gave the food 9 out of 10 in the end, and the reason why I didn't score a 10 out of 10 was simply because for the vegetarian in our group, she didn't feel like there was necessarily quite as much choice as there could have been, and especially not compared to what the other 4 of us as a mixture of pescatarian and full-on omnivores had on offer. Quick visit to the bathrooms now, and it was nice to see that the decor had carried on into the bathrooms with this lovely tablecloth on the walls. Before I forget to mention, you can also use the Anantara swimming pool resort after you've eaten at Trader Vic's, which is a lovely addition to the package. So now it's time to talk about the costs, and it's 3,500 baht for those drinking alcohol, 2,500 baht for those who don't, and then there is an extra fancy package that includes the champagne. We didn't go for that. It's not cheap, but you get a lot of food and a lot of variety for the cost. It's about probably £80 for the alcohol and probably £60 for the non-alcoholic package there. The service as well was excellent. We gave it 8 out of 10. They were very attentive. Now, the final bit of any visit I make to a tiki bar is to check out what merchandise they've got for me to bring home to remind me of that trip. So there was a relatively good choice here of merchandise. Some of it was incredibly expensive and some of it was really, really well priced. So I picked myself up a salt and pepper shaker. In fact, they were given to me complimentary from our waiting staff. I got the Manahune Share a Bowl. I got the seashell, and I also managed to pick up this particularly rare set of Mr. and Mrs. Menahune's, as well as this honey mug, which is not the original. It doesn't have an unglazed bottom. It had some age to it, interestingly, and it was pulled out from behind the bar. They weren't on sale in that cabinet that I showed you, but the staff had picked up. I had a real interest for it, so they hunted this one out for me, and the price was really good. In total, we scored 77 out of 100 for Trader Vic's, and I would recommend going there if you're on holiday, if you're in Bangkok, if you're in Thailand. Try and make that time to get down there. It won't be a waste of your time or your money. Yes, the package was pricey, but I really do think if you go for the right food and you keep your drinks topped up, it's definitely really good value for money. That brings us to the end for February's review, so join us for where we end up going in March and April coming up, and please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to my channel. This is the Cursed Piranha, our home tiki bar, and then when we go out to other commercial tiki bars, we are the Tiki Detectives. Thank you very much. Bye.